Epilogue. July 2nd was a bright and beautiful day, perfect for a wedding. Blake was standing near the smoker checking the brisket, and Maribel and Jada were making sure the cupcakes were neatly perched on heart-shaped holders. "Great work over there, ladies," Blake said. "Thanks, this is so exciting," Jordan exclaimed. Over the past few months, Elegance had become a ghost town. They still did brunch on the weekends, but after 3 weeks, it was clear that they would need more income than they would make at Elegance. But things had turned out much better than expected. Instead of going back to the Stop and Shop, Maribel and Jordan started a wedding planning business. With the number of marriages that took place in Friendly, they were sure it would help supplement their incomes. Blake had taken up catering and helping the new county commissioner, and the groom of the day, Harley Leader. All three were happy with their choices, and they were all working less than they had before. It was fun to visit with neighbors and friends at Elegance without the pressure of trying to make it a full-time restaurant. Jordan and Maribel had planned a beautiful wedding for Harley and Jada. The ceremony would take place against the backdrop of a stunning mountain vista above Friendly. A bubbling brook in the background would serenade the crowd during the ceremony. Afterwards, everyone would sit on park benches Maribel had spruced up with lanterns. As the sun set, solar lanterns would light the trail to the parking lot. People would enjoy an intimate evening in nature. Stacy Bennington, Jada's matron of honor, approached Maribel and Jordan. She was 7 months pregnant and looking amazing. The sun radiated on her brown skin. "Oh my gosh, you ladies have outdone yourselves. Jada is gonna love this. This is so her," Stacy said. "I'm glad you think so. It's our first wedding, so we really want to wow people." Tyler, Stacy's husband, came up behind her and gently placed his hand on her back. "Honey, have a seat. I don't want you to overdo it." "I won't, sweetheart. Don't worry. I made sure to rest up yesterday. Kept my feet up most of the day." "All right, darling. Just let me know if you need anything." Tyler kissed Stacy before heading off to continue lining the walking path with lanterns. "Mr. Bennington, I don't mean to rush you, but we better hurry up. The bride will be here soon," Lucien said to Tyler. "Yes, sir," Tyler responded, smiling and saluting Lucien. Maribel was pleased that her son had taken such an interest in her wedding planning business. He had insisted on helping decorate. Tyler had just placed the last lantern when Lucien said, "Here they come!" "Excellent. The brisket is all done," Blake said. He headed over to Maribel and put his arms around her waist. "Let's go watch our friends get married." Lucien tapped Blake on the shoulder. "Hey, don't forget about me." Maribel and Blake laughed and looped their arms around Lucien. The three of them walked toward the trail where Jada would enter. As they stood there with their arms wrapped around one another, Maribel thought about how much her life had changed over the past few months. Not only was she madly in love with Blake Peterson, but Lucien also had a father, and even though Jeremy was taking her to court for custody of their son, it was unlikely that he would be the best lawyer in the county, Maximilian Claiborne, who took the case on pro bono. "I'm familiar with the unofficial story," he told Maribel. "I don't take many cases, but this one is worth my time." Maximilian was a bit of a recluse, but he was one heck of a lawyer. So even though there were court dates ahead, Maribel was not worried. She had her family and nobody was going to take it away. While she and Blake weren't engaged yet, Maribel knew that was coming. She was going to have her boys, Blake and Lucien, by her side for the foreseeable future. Recently, she'd allowed herself to consider the prospect of being with Blake forever. She squeezed them both as she watched Jada come down the aisle. She was wearing a beautiful wedding dress with lace that ran the length of her arms. Jordan and Maribel had warned her against it because it was July, but the day, although warm and bright, was not scorching hot. Jada had a beautiful tiara shaped like a crown on her forehead, holding down her veil. Harley, the former ex-con turned county commissioner, was trying to conceal the tears on his cheeks as he watched his bride process down the aisle. Most of the town had gathered for the wedding, as this was one of the main social events of the summer. Friendly watched Jada and Harley say their vows. Maribel couldn't help but sob. She was so happy, and everyone else seemed to be overjoyed at that moment. Lucien leaned his head against her side, and Blake pulled both of them closer. It was hard to believe just a few months ago she'd been apathetic about her future. Now, even though they had a rocky road ahead with Jeremy, Maribel realized that she had everything she wanted right there in her arms. Her grandparents came up behind them. "We almost didn't make it," Ruby said. Maribel turned to her grandmother and smiled, too overcome with emotion to speak, hand on Maribel's shoulder, and they watched Jada and Harley come together in holy matrimony. And that, my friends, is the end of Reluctant Cowboy. The next book is Solitary Cowboy, and it will be out later this year. Thank you for listening.